Destructive edit is anything that permanently affects the image and can't be edited later on, no matter how many times you open or close the image. Now, non-destructive edits look different in different softwares, but in ON1, there's about 3 tools that are considered non-destructive, and that's going to be the perfect eraser, the clone stamp tool, and the healing brush. Those are inside the retouching module, and we're going to look at that once we get into the computer. Now, what I'm going to show you is a non-destructive workflow where you can use these tools. So if you're using them, you probably didn't even know that they were destructive, but I'm going to show you how you can overcome those issues. Let's go ahead and jump into the computer. So here we are inside of ON1 Photo Raw. Now, this is when you open up your image for the first time, you're going to see the ability to edit things. I want to make note that if you are using a raw image, you have to select your camera profile at this point, because once we create the final version of this, you're going to lose access to the camera profiles. So I'm going to go ahead and make some edits to this image. Once I have completed making the edits to my image, or once you have completed making the edits to your image, the next thing that you want to do is come up to the layers panel and click this icon right here, and this is going to duplicate your layer. So now I have 2 identical versions of the same photo. I'm going to click on the bottom one, or double click. I'm going to label this one original. I'll hit enter, and then on the top one, I'm going to double click and name this spot removal. It doesn't matter what you name your layers. Just make sure that you name it something that makes sense to your workflow. I'm now going to make sure that I have the spot removal layer selected, and now I can come over to my retouching tool. With my retouching options available to me, the 3 options that I mentioned that are destructive are right here at the top. You have the perfect eraser, the retouch brush, and then the clone stamp tool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the clone stamp for this particular image. I want to get rid of this little box over here. I'm going to hit option, sample this area right here, or actually I'll sample here since I want to start at the bottom. And all I have to do is paint over this item until it goes away the way that I want it to go. So I also want to point out to you, make sure you're on your top photo when you're doing this. Otherwise, you'll make the adjustments and it'll look like the spots never went away and it's not working. That's because the top photo will be covering up everything underneath it. So you want to make sure you're working on the top layer. I'm not concerned with how this looks overall. I just want to show the concept of working non-destructively. So now that I have my spot removed, right? If I hit this, you can see I've gotten rid of that box. And then I can right click over here on the layer, making sure that I have spot removal selected, right click on that, and then I can hit new stamped layer. Now, in order to do this, you have to make sure that both layers are turned on. That means that there's this little bubble, depending on your layout. Mine is blue, but you could have orange or red or yellow. Make sure that these bubbles are checked, so that way ON1 knows to look at these 2 layers and it will stamp them into a new layer. So now we have our new stamped layer, and I'm just going to rename this spot removal and then put a dash stamp. So now that you have your spot removal layer renamed, you can make your additional edits on your image. I want you to note that camera profile on the stamped version of this image is no longer available. This is the reason why you had to choose that on your original before you started doing your spot removals, so that way you can get a good edit. Here's a few notes to remember about this workflow. It does create a .on1 file. This is going to take up more hard drive storage, so make sure that you have enough hard drive storage if you're going to use this particular workflow. The second thing is you lose access to that camera profile that I showed you earlier. If you want to use the camera profile or alter it on a raw image, make sure you do that before you create your duplicates, and definitely before you make your stamped layer. And the third note to remember is this is labor intensive on your computer. Because it's a .on photo file, it will render your computer a little slower if you're already on that slower end. So my recommendation, do this later in your workflow. That way you don't have to worry about any issues with your workflow or your computer or, just waiting for it to render. Let me know in the comment section below if you like this workflow or if this is something you would find value. And if you did find value in this video, then smash the like button. It's completely free and it helps YouTube get this video into the eyeballs of people who probably would also benefit from this. If you are new here, my name is Chris. I'm the content creator of Free Will Photos. I make videos for photographers centered around ON1 Photo Raw so you can learn the software and get your edits out and into the world a little bit faster. If that's something you're interested in, smash the subscribe button and check the bell icon so you get notified when I drop new content, which is pretty consistent. Be sure to get your free membership over on freewillphotos.com and get those free presets for ON1 Photo Raw. If you want to watch a video about the file structure inside of ON1, click the video on the left. And if you want to see what ON1 thinks is the best video for you, click the video on the right. Until the next time, I want you guys to stay inspired and keep creating. Peace.